What's up guys, Falcon Rowan back with actually a helpful video this time, and today I'm going to be talking about Shelfaniel and why I think she should be being built now in preparation for next season, because I think she's going to be a massive competitor. So let's take a look at her right now. So Shelfaniel right now is kind of weak. Mine's not all that built up, but I've got her at 6 stars. So the key to all of this is you have to have Shelfaniel at 6 stars. The reason for that is her talent, Magic Lineage. So her int is increased up to 20% based on the unit's current HP. Whenever a skill is used to deal damage, the cooldown of this skill is reduced by 3 turns. Now why the 3 turns is so important is let's take a look at her Desiccate skill. It has a 3-round cooldown. The same with Demolish. Right now, I think she is still viable. She's a little weaker than some of her other choices, but I do think she has some viability. Demolish allows you to strip a buff off of people, and if they're running at Demon, they take increased damage from the AoE. And Desiccate gives you that 50% chance to silence. Both are useful AoE skills. And then she does carry the Goddess Glow, her own faction buff, which increases the damage of skills by 12% for any princess faction. I think that she actually makes a really good pairing. A little bit of a triumvirate here with Bozal, Shelfaniel, and Lana, because if either 2 of those 3 make it through with either Shelfaniel or Bozal with Lana, you're able to power her up quite a bit, and that can be a really potent combo with single target and AoE layered on top, and with either Shelfaniel's faction buff or Bozal's faction buff. Additionally, Shelfaniel is a part of the ELS Legends, buffed by Landius, which means that's one of the easier tanks to get and one of the most commonly run. With that, your damage increases by 15% when not battling units over which you have a class advantage. So this one's a little bit less beneficial for Shelfaniel, let's put it that way. Having her own buff would be more ideal, but either way she's still going to get that stat boost, which is vital. But she doesn't really battle because you're going to be using her as an AoE character. So right now my setup, I have all 6 abilities unlocked in anticipation for her upcoming 3C skill. But right now what I'm running is Heaven's Sanction, which is a 5-round cooldown, which gets reduced down to 2 rounds, and Desiccate. Additionally, one of the things that is nice about her as opposed to other mages is that because her cooldown is in her talent, it's innate, you don't have to worry about the clock RNG. So you're able to build magic enchants on her. So that's going to allow you to do that increased AoE damage. And then let's go over the equipment real quick. So right now I've got a Galaxy Staff on her because I don't have a Miracle Staff for her, because RNGesus is not my friend. In terms of robe, I have a Death Robe on her because that's what I had built. Honestly, the ideal would be Tenyo's robe, and if you don't have a Tenyo's robe, then a Galaxy Cloak will suffice as well. So I'll probably switch this out at some point for that. For SR gear, you're going to want to go with a Green Leaf Cloak, just for that flat HP. And that's why for headdress, I had the Green Leaf Crown, flat HP. The ideal is going to be her unique gear, the crown, or Caconsis' crown, which is a really ugly way to say it, and it would have been so much better if they went with crown of Caconsis instead, so you don't have that weird syllabalization in the middle there. But yeah, flat HP, pretty much what you want to take. And then for her accessory, I've got a Truth Pendant on. Your 2 options are really, in my opinion, you do have 2 options for SSR, and that's going to be either a Holy Ring to prevent the silence, because the big thing is being able to fire her abilities, because her single target damage is garbage. So making sure that you're guaranteed to not be silenced and get that damage off, as well as a Star Earring, the int increase, and this is preventing the one-shot by assassins and what have you. Now, I will say there's a caveat to which accessory I like best. If we're going based on soldiers, she has 2 options. So, one is the Shrine Maiden, which helps with survivability. This is, when you have them maxed out, I'm at 9 out of 10, but you get the 75% damage decrease, and everything is converted from physical damage to magic damage, which is why I like the Galaxy Cloak if I can't have a Tenyos, because the magic defense goes up and creates a better sense of sustain. The other option is your Sky Archers. This gives you that flying functionality, which means that she's not going to be limited in her ability to move around the map, similar to your Bozel with his Sorceresses or Rachel with hers. So this will allow you to step off the map, and you don't have to worry about like ground limitations. It'll be easier to place her. But if you're going to run Sky Archers, you need to have a Star Earring, because losing the survivability makes her much more susceptible to one-shot. But if you're going with the survivability, I would say take the silence resistance. So depends which way it looks depending on which map, but you know, you don't get to decide on that. So I would honestly recommend running Star Earring if you have it. I know it's a little bit harder to get your hands on. You may have it on higher priority units, but a Star Earring and running Sky Archers puts her mobility right up there with the rest of the spellcasters. Now, I do want to go over Secret Realm Store. I'll show you the Consus's Crown, because this has a few really neat effects. First, it's going to boost her magic defense, boosting her survivability. And then this builds up to, I believe, a 50% chance after taking action to gain +1 skill range and +1 span, and that lasts 1 turn. So that means you'll be able to use your abilities at much longer distance. This is good even right now, because Desiccate and Demolish have short distances, and even getting the extra range on a Heaven Sanction can be really good for poking out units that they want to keep in the back. So I like that quite a bit. I don't know why I clicked on that. I don't need it whatsoever. Alright, now last, I am going to go over what her 3C is. So I'm going to pull her up on screen so you can dazzle in her beauty while I read off the stats to you here. So her 3C is obviously a 3-cost skill. There's a 5-turn cooldown. The range is herself, and the span is 5. So it's going to be very, very similar to your Demolish or your your Desiccate in terms of range. So that's why her Crown is really important, to get that excess range on this 3C skill. So it's going to do magic damage. Your critical hit rate is increased by 60%. Attacks enemies within 5 blocks of self, dealing 0.38 times AoE damage. Dispels 2 buffs from each target, effective against demons. So it's a much higher level Demolish. When hitting demons, this skill also stuns them for 1 turn. Really useful against things like a Zerida or a Bozel. When hitting 3 or more enemy units, this skill's cooldown is reduced by 1. When successfully defeating an enemy with this skill, this skill's cooldown is reduced by 1. So, to break it all down, let's go back to her talent, right? So the cooldown is reduced by 3. If it has a 5-round cooldown, similar to how Heaven Sanction works. Oh, so actually it's Heaven Sanction's with the effect of Demolish. So it's a cross between her Heaven Sanction and Demolish. So with that, it's a 5-round cooldown, right? So that means with her skill, if she tags anyone, it's down to 2 rounds, right? But if she hits 3 people, it's down to a 1 round. But if she defeats an enemy on top of that, it's additionally reduced by 1 round, giving it 0 cooldown. So you can have this massive AoE nuke that's stronger than a Heaven Sanction, with the function of Demolish, dealing additional damage to demons, and stunning demons, all on 0 cooldown. And with her Crown, if you're able to get that passive to stack, you're able to change where your target is, so you're technically getting a 6-block span, because you can change where the target of self is, similar to how Lana's AoE works. So with all that built in, she's going to blow things up. And if you don't believe me, I've got a clip here. This is from Chinese Apex Arena for the next season, and it is honestly one of the most disgusting things that I have ever had the privilege of watching. And as a child, I wondered what a blue waffle was. And this might take the cake for being even more disgusting. So I'm going to clip that here, and I'll see you on the other side of that. Alright, so I hope you can see that Shelfaniel is more than just a silly little maid. She's actually a nuclear bomb in disguise. She is going to be, I think, one of the most impactful mages in the next season, and if you haven't started building her yet, you need to get on it, get her to those 6 stars before next season, build up her abilities, and last thing before I go, because I totally forgot, when you're running the 3 Cs, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take her faction buff, you're going to want to take the 1 cost skill as reinforcement, because that's keeping her unit HP high, which means that her int is going to be increased as well. So you're going to want to run reinforcement, you're going to want to run faction buff, and you're going to want to run the 3 cost skill. If you're able to get away with not using your faction buff, because you're running a Landius and there's no other princess, then I would consider adding Heaven Sanction or potentially a Desiccate, so that way you're not left with a turn where you don't have a skill, just in case your plan doesn't go as desired. So Shelfaniel, very conditional nuclear bomb. You're going to be playing the Mr. President game where you keep her alive until she can press that big red button and wipe the entire enemy team off the battlefield. Her favorite thing is cleaning, and in season, what is it going to be, season 6, season 7? I don't even know. I've lost track of all these seasons. But either way, the only thing that she'll be cleaning is the battlefield. Alright, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this little loose guide to Shelfaniel coming up for next season to be helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Remember to thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next time.